Hello again and welcome to the Solid Signal Podcast for July 8th, 2013. This time we're going to be taking an extended look at DIRECTV's new RC71 remote. The RC71 remote isn't the most popular remote among enthusiasts. I'm going to explain why. I'll spend a very small amount of time defending it, and then we'll talk about what your options are if you don't like it. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, I'll pop up an image of the RC71 on screen. If you're listening on iTunes or on another source, go to solidsignal.com and browse for C41. You'll see it there. Let's talk about what there is to like. The RC71 sits much more comfortably in the average hand. It's lighter, and it puts all the buttons that the average person uses in easy reach of your right thumb, especially if you're holding it in the right hand. It also has really superb RF performance, far better than DIRECTV's older RF remotes. This makes it incompatible with the RF remotes of old, but unfortunately, there's not a lot that can be done about that. It uses a two-way technology. It sends a really strong RF signal, and as soon as that RF signal is received by the box itself sends another signal back to the remote to tell it to stop. This is really an improvement, and honestly, I've put little boxes behind TVs, had no problems with it at all. And that's something that really benefits your average customer. The volume and channel rockers are very intuitive, they're right where you need them to be, and they've got a nice feel that most people, not all people, really appreciate. It's in the middle of the remote where things get a little bit wonky. There's one button for play and pause, and it used to be that if you just pressed play, you could see where you were in a recording and not actually pause it. That's not possible with this remote anymore. There's also no stop button, so if you were used to using that, well, unfortunately, it's not there. It's true that the enthusiast community has been complaining about this remote for several months, but on the other hand, it's also true that it's not going anywhere. We have to remember there are 20 million subscriber homes for DIRECTV, and probably 19,900,000 of them are just that sort of, I want to sit there, I want to watch TV, don't bother me, that kind of people. The enthusiast community tends to think that everybody really wants to get the most out of their products, and while it would be great if they did, that's just not true. There is some good news when using this remote, which is that you don't have to use this remote. You have a couple of options as far as performance. You can use a regular old DIRECTV remote, and let me tell you, they are still being sold at Solid Signal and will be sold for a long time to come. You lose that RF capability. On the other hand, you gain a stop button, you gain a dedicated play button, which still works, and you gain all the color buttons if you're used to using them. Even though their functions have been remapped, the old color buttons do still work. You can add that capability back in, that RF capability that you like, using a third-party product like, for example, the next-gen LRRX or Genius products, which replace one of the batteries inside your remote with an RF transmitter. Yes, you do need an IR blaster on the other side of things, but that's not really a huge deal. It's worth noting that the HR44 and C41 receivers will receive RF and IR at the same time, meaning that you can keep that RC71 remote programmed for RF and also keep a regular old white DIRECTV remote in the same room programmed for IR, and you don't have to switch back and forth. A lot of people also enjoy that because they can use a product like a Slingbox, for example, in IR mode, or an app-based remote in IR mode. Here's the bottom line. Use your DIRECTV equipment the way that you want to. Whether it's the RC71 remote, the older white DIRECTV remote, or a third-party universal remote. The nice thing is that these receivers don't care. Give the RC71 a try. Who knows, you might actually like it. In the meantime, that's it for us at the Solid Signal Podcast today. We want you to have a great week, and if you have an idea for a future podcast, click on that orange Suggest a Topic button at the upper right-hand corner of blog.solidsignal.com.